Fun fact, before I get started with this review, I know a lot of horror movie fans who say that they will never ever watch the movie The Thing, and I'm thinking to myself, why? It's a classic, it's a really good movie, it's by far one of the best horror movies that I have ever seen. I guess some people just can't really stand real horror, especially people who say they are horror movie fans. So The Thing came out in 1982, and it was directed by John Carpenter, and I guess you guys realize by this point that John Carpenter is one of my favorite horror movie directors, and this movie is definitely one of his biggest classics. It stars Kurt Russell and this gang of scientists that are down in Antarctica for the winter, and then one by one they all get hunted down by this shape-shifting creature that they call the Thing. And the monster itself in this movie is absolutely creative. I mean, when you think of shape-shifting aliens, you'd think they would turn into like demons or like green men, or they would transform from one person to another. No, when they say shape-shifting, they really mean shape-shifting. You see the dog in the kennel, and its face was all opening up and all such. You see one of the scientists walk out in the snow, and his hands were like, I don't know exactly what they look like, but they didn't look normal. And also, one of them was bloating his head. You know, like those guys did in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then next thing you know, his skull opens up in his big jaw, and he's just biting off people's heads and everything, including that guy's chest opens up and just clamps down on these guys' hands. They get very creative in the shape-shifting department in this movie, and that's what I really enjoyed about this movie. Now, this movie really does have some flaws, very minor ones, but they kind of bother me in a way. It just takes away the horror elements that I really didn't like. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll explain a little bit more that I actually really enjoyed out of this movie. For one thing, Kurt Russell in this movie, Kurt Russell is by far one of the best actors in my mind. I absolutely enjoy his work. I enjoy almost all the movies he's in. He's by far a really good actor, and this is definitely one of his best movies. I mean, granted, I have a beard and hair growing out. I'm almost looking like Kurt Russell from this movie, but he's the character we mostly focus on in the entire movie, and his character development is really good. He's the type of guy that just likes to drink and he's bored all the time, but when all this is going down, he's definitely the one that takes action the most. And also Keith David in this movie. Keith David is also a very interesting character as well, cuz he's the type of guy that sometimes gets along with everybody, but when the tension starts to build and not everybody is really trusting everybody, he's definitely the one that is the most doubtful. And you kind of understand his points as well. I mean, you kind of want to stay calm in these type of situations. You don't want to over panic, especially from something you don't really know. But it's gotten to the point where nobody trusts anybody in this movie. And Keith David is, next to Kurt Russell, these were the two characters that I wanted to see get out of this movie. The thing that I say is a flaw out of this movie is, well, in the very beginning, we see this spaceship fly to Earth and crash land on Antarctica, and I thought to myself, dude, you just completely ruined what could have been really good. I mean, it's Antarctica for crying out loud. This is a continent that we don't really know that much about. I mean, what if it's just scientists going down there to study a bunch of stuff, and then they release this creature that has lived in Antarctica, is actually a creature in Antarctica, and starts tearing them apart? I thought that would have been a lot more scarier, because that's telling you this is a creature from our world, and there's a reason why not a lot of people like to go to Antarctica. They didn't put that in. Instead, they made it an alien creature. I mean, you can make the Predator an alien creature, but the Thing, I don't think that was really an element this movie really needed. But either way, The Thing is a very creative movie. I absolutely enjoy the acting. I enjoy the story. The scares in this movie are definitely here. Never mind the fact that this thing came from outer space. That's the only flaw that I really see in this entire movie. And if you guys are fans of dogs and you absolutely really love dogs, there's one scene in this movie that you might want to skip, because that was rough to watch. But either way, The Thing's a classic. I love it. This movie is legendary. So guys, The Thing, have you seen it? What did you think of it? Whatever you thought, comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.